All right, it's recording this time.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our kitchen/living room, and I'm Taylor LeBlanc.
Yeah, I'm Justin Pena. This is a podcast we've decided to do impulsively after 2 beers. We've decided to name it Louder Than the Fridge, and we'll get into that.
Yeah, we'll get to. I guess we'll get to that in a little bit. We should probably tell people who we are.
Yeah.
As if people other than our immediate friend group will be listening to this, and even then they'll just feel obligated.
Listen, all the fans in Costa Rica need to know who we are, you know?
Yeah, I guess we have one listener in Costa Rica or Spain.
Yeah, so
same place, right?
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much. They're all Spanish. Is Costa Rica Spanish?
They speak Spanish.
Yeah, we've gotten racist already. All right. So, we have kind of spoiled it with the word listener.
Let's talk to. Oh, I guess what you're saying is let's talk about us.
Yeah. So what this is. So we are 2 musicians, local musicians, mind you, in the very exciting city of Ottawa, Canada.
The city that fun forgot.
Exactly. Yeah.
And we'll get to why that leads to the name of our show later.
Yeah. But yeah, we decided to do a podcast where we just talk about music and basically just give ourselves an excuse to hang out. I mean, we're roommates. So,
I mean, like, we're going to sit here and have beers and drink anyways.
Yeah.
Might as well get a little attention from it, right?
Might as well make a desperate attempt to monetize it.
Hey, we made a whole $20 through streaming platforms.
Excuse you, it's $27.99.
Oh, baby, we're living large.
Yeah. The important thing there is to not consider the $40 we've had to spend over 2 years for DistroKid. That our former keys player is still paying for it. Hey, Max, how you doing?
Okay, let's talk about us. Justin, what role do you play in our band Veritones?
All right, so I am a guitar player and what some would call a singer. Don't know if I've earned that, but it is what it is.
I mean, you're the one who's singing, so...
Yeah, I sing and, write the songs, and then Taylor plays the tambourine.
Yep.
And the bongos.
I'm the absolute ape that sits in the background and looks mental as he bashes stuff with his hands.
You're not wrong.
I've been writing a drum booklet for someone for Christmas. And I literally put a disclaimer at the beginning that shows a picture of me saying, this is the only picture of me playing drums that looks semi-cool. Just be warned that you will never look cool playing drums.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of tough when you're in the moment. I mean, even our old drummer, the photos, a lot of times, his tongue was sticking out. A few good ones, but...
I think it might just be, self-consciousness, because I look at you... Yeah. All the pictures of you, and you are doing similar faces and that kind of stuff. Yeah. But it's just oh no, he's the front man. He looks cool doing it. I'm just sitting in the back like a gremlin. Yeah. Just with my back hunched over, as I bash on the drums.
Yeah, you can definitely pull off a lot more when you're the front man. You got a microphone in your face.
And you're wearing full leather outfit.
Yeah, leather pants help. You can pretty much get away with anything in leather pants.
Jim Morrison did until he didn't.
Yeah. Leather pants fight off heroin. Fun fact, kids.
It did again. Did it? It didn't work. He OD'd.
Yeah, eventually.
Yeah, it caught up with him eventually. Yeah. Then you look at someone like Mick Jagger, and that dude, I don't believe he'll ever die. No. I think the drugs fueled his life force.
Well, there's a classic joke that's at the end of the world, there will be 2 things. Cockroaches and Keith Richards. But I guess you can just expand that to say the Rolling Stones.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay, so we should talk about the band a little bit more.
Yeah, so the name of our band is Veritones. We've been playing music, I guess, 4 years now?
I guess so. You guys started the band.
Yeah, we started late first year of university, so... Oh, yeah, I'm shaking the mic. I'm sorry.
Swear to God, you're the one with Tourette's.
I'm just getting excited. But yeah, so 4 years, started just 3 buddies jamming. Eventually we started playing open mics and then got some gigs around town. So that was fun. We're doing good. And then, our 3rd member left and then the pandemic hit.
Yeah. So I guess around when Veritones kind of started, I incidentally played the same show as you guys twice.
Yeah.
Without kind of knowing each other.
Yeah.
And beat you in both those Battle of the Bands, let it be known.
Yeah, you love to mention that.
Yeah. But the thing was, you guys were sitting down your very first show together.
Yeah.
And playing originals.
Yeah,
right?
all original.
And we went up there and literally played All Star as one of our 3 songs.
What was that, in like 2017 or 2016?
Yeah, I guess so.
Peak meme days.
Yeah, so like we obviously won the crowd over with All Star kind of thing. Time passes. We have another one of those Battle of the Bands. We're both at it. You guys are down a member because our lovely... Can you stop playing with stuff on the table?
Listen, man,
stacking beer bottles.
Cans, man. These are cans.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But your our lovely and dearest Max just decides the day of he doesn't want to do it. Yeah. So you and the other old drummer Phil just decide to do a 2-man, and then my quote unquote band that we just got together for this. Had crowd pleaser songs, and you guys were literally just kind of winging it. Yeah. We won again, let it be known.
Yeah, I'd also like to mention that the 3 times we did this open mic, we didn't know it was a competition for any of the 3 of them.
Did you not pick up after the first 2 times?
No, I mean, okay, I guess we knew after the first time it was a competition, but we didn't know how the voting worked. Like if it was judges or crowd voting.
I mean, the first time we did it, it was audience vote, and then we only did it the first and third time you did it, because we did it twice.
Yeah, you weren't there the second
time. The last time, literally someone, like the person who was running it walked up to us and was like, I like you guys win. I was just like, okay.
See, we were told the same thing, so we were...
And then I think we fucked Phil.
I had no part in that,
because the winning prize of it was weekend tickets.
Oh yeah,
Phil being the old drummer of the band, and he
Phil.
really wanted them. He really wanted to go, and so the person who was running it said to us like, "Oh, I went to go pick them up." She's just like, "Hey, by the way, the runners up want nice just spilling beer everywhere."
Man, it's second one, and
this is a professional podcast, Justin.
We're getting paid for this shit?
No, nope,
definitely
not. So Phil, the old drummer, wanted the weekend tickets.
Yeah.
And I went to go pick them up, and the person running it was just like, "Hey, so like, I don't know if you guys actually, thank you for that, actually want that, but the runners-up really want it." And I guess I had said that we were selling them or something. She's just like, they really want them. And I just like had to look her in the eye and be like, I guess I'm not the only person in the band. I really just wanted the money.
Yeah.
That's like, I was a poor university student. I could we ended up selling them for like $90 a piece kind of thing. So we each made like $70. So nice.
That was coming.
That's what the audience wants to hear.
Yeah, if we're drinking during this, it's gonna happen.
Yeah. So, anyways, a summer passes or whatever, and I end up working with Phil, the old drummer.
Oh yeah.
And he is leaving to Quebec. And he's leaving at the end of the summer, and he mentions to Justin like, "Hey, I work with this guy Taylor," kind of thing. Me and Justin meet up at some parties and stuff.
Well, the first time we met, we went to a show to go see the Foo Fighters
and Greta Van Fleet.
Yes,
your favorite band in the world,
of course. And I meet Taylor, and we just get drunk and hang out, and then we go to the festival that we were going to. And he just starts harassing people with band tees. Like, he goes up to this guy with a Nirvana shirt and says, "You know they're not playing tonight, right?"
Or people in Led Zeppelin shirts. I'm like, yo, I'm so freaking pumped to see Robert Plant. Like, I've kind of lost this.
Yeah.
But that was kind of my last summer of when I got drunk. I just had energy out the wazoo and just didn't know how to contain it, so I just screwed with people.
Yeah, you just lost your youth.
I lost my youth. I enjoy shopping at IKEA now.
I fall asleep when I drink now.
But so okay, we go to this concert. have some fun, and then so that was my first time meeting Justin, and I think maybe we hung out one more time with the old drummer Phil.
Yeah.
And I think you said to me like, "Hey, once Phil leaves, like if you want to come jam with me and Max, the keys player, like hit me up." So me and you stayed in contact, kind of thing. And I went to the first practice with you guys as if it was like an official thinking it would be really like, oh, we're trying out drummers kind of thing.
The best part of that is Max used to drive us to practices, and he lost his license around that time. So for the first time we jammed with Taylor, where he thinks it's a tryout, Max's mom picked us up.
And we drive into the middle of Frenchland, Ottawa.
Yeah. Oh, man.
And so we go, and I'll still remember Wild Honey, the song that we're going to start the podcast with.
Okay.
Just because I'm talking about it now.
Yeah. There we go. It's settled.
It's settled. We've done it. Justin started playing that riff on guitar. And I think Justin had said this is what Phil did in the past or something. I think it was a rock beat derivation.
Yeah, something like that.
Kind of thing. And I just sat down and I played what ended up being like, I felt it a lot, and I was just like, hell yeah, this is like, I need to be a little drive, I need to be a little power, and I just jamming the
little
first
drive,
jam.
little power.
Little Drive is my rapper name.
Yeah, I'm sorry, we agreed not to cut each other off, but I had to. Rapper names take precedence.
I agree. That should be a law set in stone.
Yeah, here we go. First rule of the podcast.
Rapper names take precedence of the conversation. Yeah, so like after that, like we were so clicked in kind of thing, and it just went so well, and I left the practice and I said to Justin like, oh yeah, let me know like if you decide and that kind of stuff. He just looks at me and goes, you know, you're in the band.
Yeah, like no pussyfooting around here.
Yeah, yeah. No, like, and it went very well, and thus settled the destiny of our shitty local band, Veritones.
Yeah, what was it, like 2 weeks later we went to the studio to record the songs.
2 weeks later we had a show.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That we did with the Carbons.
Yeah, shout out Carbons.
Shout out Carbons out in BC.
BC.
Yeah. No, and like it was a blast of a show.
Yeah.
I have, especially at that point too, I had a lot of stage fright.
Yeah.
Like and especially like that translates to mistakes.
Yeah.
And only having 2 weeks, so I had 2 practices with you guys.
Yeah.
To learn a set.
Yeah.
And that was trial by fire. And then maybe 2 weeks after that, we went into the studio and recorded Wild Honey and Dynamite. Yeah. You guys did record one before I joined the band.
Gone with the Wind.
Gone with the Wind. And like, do you want to speak to like kind of the differences between the 2 experiences?
Yeah, it was pretty different. I mean, the first time with Gone with the Wind, we worked with this like smaller studio in Ottawa. So he just had one room really, and we had to go to another studio to record the drums, which after recording the scratch track were the first thing we did. So, you know, did the drums, and it was tough to gauge tempo there just because it was based off the scratch track. And then we brought the drum track back to the studio we're working with and just recorded the rest. So like we started with guitar and then keys, and then we got the bass player we had at the time to come in just for like a half hour, and he had a bass with like these like super dead ass strings.
Has there been a more bassist thing in the world?
The most thing. Like, he's real shit. Like, he's good, but like, oh man, the dead bass strings.
I've heard him play. He was never in the band when I was in the band, but I've heard him play, and he's a good bassist.
Oh yeah. Oh, he was sick. Yeah, recorded that, and then we left, and then came back. Me, Max, and Phil at the time for the vocals. And again, I'd never recorded vocals really, so we had a run at that. It was fun. It was a good experience to learn how we wanted to do things recording wise. It was weird separating all different aspects of recording. It when we recorded after that, we tended to play together a lot more, and that tended to give a better result. than when it was all separated.
I mean, especially because like after being in the band for a month, we went and recorded Wild Honey and Dynamite, and we recorded that not live off the floor. We just did it as separate. You laid down a scratch track, and then we played over that.
Yeah.
And then you re-recorded.
We played with you though, like during it, so it was kind of a weird mix of live off the floor and separated tracks.
Yeah, I forgot about that. So the scratch track was set together.
Yeah.
But we only used your vocals and your guitar as a scratch track. And when you're talking about recording vocals, it just made me think of this anecdote of when we...
It's fancy, folks, because it's an anecdote.
Yeah. But when, because we did, going from there, we went and recorded Heavy Bones, which we did completely live off the floor.
Yeah. Well, minus overdubs. But yeah, the foundation of the track was live off the floor.
Exactly, yeah. But we did that. We got someone who wanted us to go into Raven Studios in Ottawa.
Shout out Raven Studios, Ottawa.
Shout out Raven Studios. And just invited us in to record some stuff. And so in the overdubs, after we had gone and recorded live off the floor, it was time for backup vocals with me and Max.
Yeah.
And Max went and recorded his. Whatever. I go. I'm sitting in the booth at our producer's basement studio and singing. And he's just like, can you sing louder? I do like 3 tracks. And every time he's like, Taylor, you need to sing louder. I'm like, man, I'm singing as loud as I can. Like, kind of thing. He goes, 1 sec, comes out. Max is like a foot shorter than me. Yeah. The mic was still set for Max, so it was a foot shorter than it should have been. Oh, he goes, oops, my bad, puts it up. Did like 1 take each for the rest of them.
Taylor, your chest hair is too quiet.
No, and like, we've done a lot of shows. We've done 1 show out of town.
Yeah.
In Kingston with Hard Labor.
Yeah, shout out Hard Labor.
Yeah,
shout out Overtime.
Yeah, no, that was a fun bar to play. Although
that was a good time.
It sucked that I didn't have a monitor. Though there are few worse things than not having a monitor as a drummer.
I think there's a lot worse than that. But
yeah, okay. Yes, there are worse things, technically.
Like disease, death.
You mean COVID-19?
COVID-19 is definitely worse than not having a monitor as a drummer.
Yeah, we're in the thick of it with that. Yeah. But yeah, no, like we played some really fun shows. We had our release show at Rainbow.
Shout out Rainbow Bistro in Ottawa.
That's it. It's been so long since we played a show because of the virus that like, and we maybe could have played a show, but our bassist, aka our keys player, so our keys player would play an electric organ and a Moog bass key at the same time.
Yeah, you pronounced it correctly. He will be very happy about that. It's not a lot of people pronounce it Moog, but Moog.
Listen, I might be a drummer, but I'm not as dumb as drummers.
Yeah.
I guess that's debatable. But so we had our show last December.
Yeah.
That was our last show with Max. And once he left, like, honestly, it was a great going away show. We all just performed pretty well for us, Yeah. And after that, me and Justin were like, okay, we need to start looking for a bass player, have some interest and stuff. COVID hits.
Oh, yeah, right. Right in the thick of it.
For a while, we're like, okay, we can't have people over to our house.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Couple months go by. I left town for a bit, came back, and we're like, okay, we need to start looking for a bass player again. Since then, we've had, I don't know, 4 bass players that we've talked to?
I mean, if you count the 2 Ryans. Yeah.
I don't know what it is with bad Ryan bass players. Yeah. Not bad that they play bass bad.
If there's any good bass players out there named Ryan, I'm sorry, but... you
just don't make the cut.
You got a lot of people ruining your reputation for sure.
Your parents set you on a bad path by naming you Ryan.
Yeah. Sorry, bro, but that's the way it is. But yeah, I don't know what it is about bass players, and we'll try not to get into too much of a rant, but answer your fucking text messages. Holy fuck, dudes.
Like, honestly, we've had a couple times where it's like, okay, this day is good. We're good for this day. Let's rent a space. Let's have it here, whatever it is. and then that day will come by, and that person is not confirmed, or if we're having it here, like we tried a couple times, and then those people just wouldn't show.
Yeah, we just get ghosted. It's
like how I'm trying very hard not to chirp the shit out of all bass players in general, but I'm seeing a pattern.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I know they have a bad enough reputation. The reason I chirp them is because they're the only person in the band with a worse reputation than the drummer. That's it. That's where all this comes from.
Fair enough.
Why don't we talk about the name of the show?
Name of the show. So, Louder Than the Fridge. So, we live at an apartment in Ottawa. And
right in the thick of it.
Right in the thick of it. Right in the thick of it. And, you know, it's tough to be musicians in an apartment. You know, you got neighbors, you got thin walls, you take it easy, you know. So we put a lot of effort into trying to mitigate the volume of our respective instruments. So
specifically, like, I've put $600 into my kit for mesh skins, silent cymbals, all that stuff. Not stuff that you put over your cymbals, but cymbals themselves that have a bunch of holes in it and are quiet.
Yeah.
You've put a lot of money into yours.
Yeah. So I bought for all the gear fans, a Torpedo Captor X. Shout out to Two Notes. But yeah, it's like a Grand Canadian, right? So it's great. I love it, and it allows me to control the volume. Anyway, you know, we've done these things to try to be able to jam.
So $1,600 of input on together.
Yeah.
That we have put into helping our neighbors not complain about us play music. And we've talked to all the other neighbors.
Yeah.
And we did talk to.
Yeah. I mean, we'll give some credit. We don't know who lodged the complaint. But we've talked to a large number of our neighbors, and they're all cool with it. They're chill. I mean, this is a apartment building in Ottawa, but not a very big one. I think there's
it's like a quadplex.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So we have someone below us, someone above us, and someone
next to us.
Someone next to us.
Exactly. So anyway, we were jamming last week, and then everything seemed cool. It was fine. And then a few days later, I check our mailbox. And we've got a notice of
noise
violation by Ottawa bylaw.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, maybe we're being too loud. But what does it say on the notes on it?
For starters, our noise violation time was for 6:20 p.m., right?
And we have the person that we suspect. We've talked to them. And they gave us a time frame, pretty much, saying, "Okay, play between these hours." And me and Justin, just to say, we play between pretty much 6 and 8.
Yeah,
that's when we play.
It tends to be
and not every day.
Yeah, we tell ourselves no later than 8:30 p.m. Right? We're not trying to disrupt anyone's sleep schedule.
To me, that's reasonable.
Yeah. Well, anyway, 6:20 p.m. On the ticket, it's written, "Reading was taken at 65 decibels. Any noise before 11 p.m. should be under 50 decibels, and any noise after 11 p.m. must cease."
Okay. Yeah. Now, if I were to just above 50 decibels, right? Yeah. That's so loud, right?
Yeah,
that
must be fucking disrupting the inhabitants of the city. Yeah.
Justin, do you have an example maybe of what runs at 50 decibels maybe during the nighttime?
Well, I have 2 examples of what runs at 65 decibels and 50 decibels. Funny enough.
Okay.
I looked it up. There's a study from Yale. 65 decibels is the volume of a typical office space.
Okay. Oh, wow. Are those people yelling? Or
No.
Is this like an office space that's having like a Nerf gun fight or something?
No, dude, you and I work in different offices, man. But yeah, just, phones ringing, people shuffling around, printing papers, whatever.
Wow, those must be loud offices.
Yeah, we clocked in at 65 decibels. So the noise, the sound level of an office space. And then we have to be below 50 decibels. 50 decibels is the volume of your, run-of-the-mill refrigerator, right?
That is literally download. Shh. Am I above 50 decibels?
Yeah, dude.
Okay. Just to let you know, this is also probably above 50 decibels.
Yeah, you think of the, sound level of your average fridge. Let's just listen to hear ours. Yeah, you don't hear shit, my dudes. Like, there's nothing going on. So yeah, we have to be quieter than a refrigerator.
Yep.
But pretty much everything we do is louder than the fridge.
Including speaking.
But yeah.
I mean, like, this is why Ottawa is the city that fun forgot.
Yeah. Oh, for
realistically.
real. Like, we try to be reasonable with it. Anyway, this is pretty much just our rant session.
Yeah. That's why we have this podcast. Yeah. It's just to rant about stuff bothering us.
But yeah, that's a big one. I mean, so yeah, we've been cracking a ton of jokes like, hey, dude, when you're taking a piss, it's way louder than the fridge, man.
Okay. How about we come out of that and talk about some lighter stuff
Are you coming out to me?
Can you stop making noise with everything you're doing?
I fidget pretty badly.
Okay, let's talk about something a little bit later and talk about what we've been listening to.
Yeah.
Because I know the audience is waiting on bated breath to know what these two hometown zeros have been listening to.
What are you listening to, man? Come on, give me some music recommendations.
I mean, to me, it's obvious what you've been listening to with surrounding events.
So yeah, last week we lost an absolute legend, Eddie Van Halen. And to give a little context, I started playing guitar when I was 11 years old, and the big inspiration for that was AC/DC. I was a huge fan of Angus and Malcolm, but really, like, I have a younger brother, so as an older brother, I identified with Malcolm just for that reason. So yeah, kind of got into it because of AC/DC, but had been, I think, like 2 years, and, you know, I liked playing guitar, but never took it really that seriously until I heard Eddie Van Halen play Eruption in a YouTube video, and that just rocked my world, you know, just changed everything I thought was possible, and became obsessed with Van Halen, you know. But the thing is, I'd been playing guitar maybe 2-3 years at that point, so wasn't really in a position to play a lot of Van Halen songs. I mean,
they're hard as shit.
Yeah,
to put it lightly.
He's a legend for a reason, and a lot of that was, you know, guitar pyrotechnics and, you know, pushing what could be done on the guitar forward. So, you know, last week I hear about Eddie's passing, and that just kind of reignited, you know, my love of Van Halen. You know, it had never gone away, but kind of just faded in the background.
It reignited the reason why guitar became such a passion for you.
Oh, absolutely. So, and kind of funny enough, as soon as the pandemic started and we were locked down, I kind of took a look at myself and said, okay, like, I've been stagnant on guitar for a while. I want to push myself further. So I set out to learn Eruption by Van Halen.
And I've heard that song.
You must have heard
Living with You, I've heard that song probably 1,000 times.
Oh, yeah.
I have never hated it one of those times. Yeah. Like, it's such a great solo. It's such a great showcase of guitarmanship.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if that is a word, but it's a showcase of guitarmanship. Now. Exactly.
But yeah, it just changed the game completely. So, you know, I learned that. And then earlier in the year, I said, okay, I've never really delved deep into Van Halen's catalog. Like, when I was a teenager, I listened to all their hits, you know, Eruption, Run with the Devil, and we talk about Love, Hot for Teacher, Jump, all that stuff. But I said, okay, I'm gonna go through all their albums. I'll be honest, all their albums with David Lee Roth.
Yeah, I mean, that dude had energy like no one else.
Oh yeah, he had like big time cocaine energy.
Oh yeah, big time all drugs, all uppers, all uppers. Like,
but yeah, so listen to, you know, Van Halen 1, Van Halen 2. Then it was, I think, Women and Children First, Fair Warning, Diver Down, 1984, all that stuff. And there's a lot of great jams in there. But yeah, learned Eruption, and then I hear of Eddie's passing. You know, deeply saddens me, of course.
You don't have to sound so sarcastic when you say that. I know you're not being sarcastic about it, but
yeah. But you know, it's tough to lose a legend. But I think he was 65 years old,
which I I didn't realize how young he was when they got big.
Yeah.
Like, me and you went and watched a bunch of concerts.
Yeah.
And some of those concerts, they don't play amazing.
Yeah.
That's probably because of the copious amount of drugs. I'm not going to lie.
The amount of alcohol and cocaine they consumed.
But, like, you look at him. He was a child.
Oh, yeah.
He's younger than we are.
He had a young face for sure. Like,
oh,
I think
yeah.
he was
he was like 20, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think like when the first album came out, he was something like 23, 22-ish. So
could you imagine having the audience they do at our age?
Oh, it'd be crazy.
Imagine how big your ego would get. Like, I would be a menace.
I mean, we play a show with 15 people, and I'm a nightmare to deal with, right?
Literally walk out like we're fucking rock gods.
But yeah, so all said and done, I've been listening to a ton of Van Halen. I mean, I'm as a guitar player, I'm completely mesmerized by some of his songs, like "I'm the One," "Hot for Teacher,"
and like
"Take Your Whiskey Home" and stuff like that.
I mean, like, just to speak to "Hot for Teacher" before this noise complaint, like me and Justin kind of challenged each other a bit, where it's like, I'll learn "Hot for Teacher" if you learn "Hot for Teacher."
Yeah.
And you have a lot better discipline than I do when it comes to it. So hearing you practice it and shit, and like me sitting there like, okay, I need to work on my hertas and that kind of stuff for the intro and then matching up the bass, let alone the verse riff kind of thing of, I'm not a double bass drummer. I have it on there, but I'm not a double bass drummer. So that's definitely been a learning curve for me. But man, they really kill it on that song. Oh
yeah, it's like a master class in guitar and drums and
like it's kind of up the mountain, right? Like you have this mountain of learning guitar or learning drums.
Yeah.
For drums and guitar, it's up the mountain.
Yeah, like it's a step you need to reach if you really want to, take your musicianship to a next level.
Yeah, and it's amazing to have a song that does that for more than one instrument.
Yeah.
To have more than one instrument be the showcase of the song. Because really, the drums and guitar in that song are both the showcase.
Oh, for sure, yeah. I mean, like the opening drum beat or fill or whatever you want to call it is so iconic,
Oh, yeah. And like it literally mimics a Harley Davidson motorcycle starting up so well. And yes, he quad tracked it, whatever.
It's still really cool.
It's still so cool. Like, I'm not going to be all elitist like, well, he couldn't play it live. Like, who cares? He did a really good job with it. And it's not, the challenge isn't, can I play these 4 tracks at the same time? It's like, how do I interpret this as a drummer?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Right?
And speaking to the guitar part of it, I mean, the intro is tough. And I still don't have it nailed. And then there's the whole rhythm guitar part. Like, Van Halen is widely known as being this fantastic lead guitar player, but his rhythm playing is in a league of its own. That swing, it took me countless times of playing along to the track to really nail it.
Not even just the swing, but the swing at the speed you need to play it is absurdly fast.
Oh, yeah, it's nuts.
And, like, even, I went on a breakdown of, because, I mean, the drums are at the same swing kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it kind of clicked in for me when I realized that you're just playing triplets, but everyone draws it out or transcribes it as triplets, and you're playing the last note of the triplet and the first note of the triplet on the kick drum. But it's not that.
Yeah.
It can be written out that way, but it's swung in such a specific way that is like, I had to sit down at the drum and play it at quarter speed, just trying to match the swing of it, and then slowly ramp it up. And even when I'm ramping it up, you get not that far into ramping it up to speed, and you're like, shit, I've lost that swing.
I can't
like, it's
keep
such
up,
a complex and amazing beat.
Yeah.
It really is.
Oh, no, it's tough. Like, learning other Van Halen songs, like one I've been working on now is I'm the One. And that's swung at 236 beats per minute. Like,
that's mental.
Insanely fast.
Yeah.
But just Eddie and Alex were right in there.
Well, those two, I mean, and maybe that's what you get when you look at the Greta Van Fleet boys.
Yeah.
You know,
brothers, yeah.
Bro, you could say what you want about them and ripping off Led Zeppelin kind of thing. They are tight together.
Yeah, they got good feel, for sure.
Like, you know, when we saw them live, they didn't ever feel not tight, and that's from they grew up playing together.
Yeah, exactly.
They learned they probably learned instruments because their brother was learning an instrument or started at the same time or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So you have this natural formation of tightness because
biological bond, man.
Exactly, you know, which is hard. And you know what, me and you have gotten very tight because we live together.
Bro,
imagine if
are
we
you calling me your brother?
You're up there.
Oh my god. Yes.
But like, you know, me and you have gotten way tighter since we've lived together.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Let alone if we were raised together. Like, think of that. Think of how tight we'd be.
Yeah. No, for sure. But yeah, ultimately I've been on a massive Van Halen kick for the past few weeks. And
is there any album that you would suggest?
Honestly,
specifically,
Women and Children First, I think, is a really underrated Van Halen album. So I really love some of the songs on there, especially at the tail end, but there's a lot of really great ones. Like I think there's Everybody Wants Some opens it. Might not be the first one, might be the second one. Romeo Delight is a really cool song. Take Your Whiskey Home is a great one. I've been singing it obsessively over the past few days. And Could This Be Magic? Something like that. But yeah, Women and Children First is a great listen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So anyway, let's move on to your music discussion point.
You know, I've been in a bit of a music rut lately. Yeah. You know, you kind of hit those points when you're listening to music where you're just like, I'm just going to listen to what I know and what is familiar to me. I don't know why. This quarantine, it's happened quite a bit. Yeah. I think it's easy to just kind of fall into patterns.
Just like fall back to old habits for sure.
Yeah. So I'm going to get a lot of flack for this or a lot of chirps. I don't care. I've been listening to a lot of Stadium Arcadium by Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Red Hot Chili Peppers.
And I like this album holds a special place in my heart. It really does. I have a tattoo of this album. Yeah. And the reason is because it marks a time in my life. All the tattoos of albums I have on my arm mark different points in my life. And this marks both the point in high school where I got really into Chad Smith and the Red Hot Chili Peppers. California, California. So that's a summary of that album. Yeah. And, you know, like in university, there was a summer where me and a friend were doing a lot of road trips, and the only CD she had was Stadium Arcadium. And we'd be on like a 6-hour, 8-hour road trip and listening to that the whole way through. And I've never had an album that never got old like Stadium Arcadium.
I can't believe you just threw shade at your ex-girlfriend by calling her a friend.
I was trying to be inconspicuous. Anyways, you know, like, I just think it's such a solid album all around. And their manager literally came to them and was like, these are all great songs. Do you want to split them into 2 albums? Because it will make you more money. If you release these as 2, because there's 26, 24 songs on there? 29 or 28 songs. Yeah. That's mental. Think of like Kids See Ghosts by Cudi and Kanye. That's a 35-minute album. That was a popular album like 2-3 years ago kind of thing. This is a 2.5-hour album of mostly bangers. Yeah. And it's such a return to form for me like, you know, it's comfortable. I love what they're doing. And it just makes me feel warm inside. Some other stuff I've been listening to, Rage Against the Machine self-titled. You know, Zepp 1 is amazing. Rage Against the Machine self-titled, in my opinion, might, and this is hurting me to say, it's at least tied with the best first album a band's ever put out.
Wow, that's a big claim. As a, you know,
I know,
Zeppelin fanatic.
You know me. I love John Bonham. I love Led Zeppelin. John Paul Jones kills it on everything he does. The whole band kills it on everything they do. Yeah. But this album has so much power behind it and so much raw energy. Oh, yeah. And it even just like, and trying to play the beats on it is weird because the drummer has his own swing and the rest of the band has their own swing. And it just kind of, almost makes this dissonance between the band and the drummer or the rhythm section, but it adds towards this fuck the power.
Yeah, they had a great feel, and when they all come together at once, like it hits, man. It hits like a fucking...
I mean, and it speaks to the time that they came up to.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they were part of the counterculture.
Yeah.
They were the loudest part of the counterculture, I would say. Sure, yeah. You know, you had... This is coming off the back of the Pixies and that kind of stuff, who are playing these kind of like, yes, they're raw, they're the kind of the start of grunge, but also kind of the start of garage rock.
Yeah, they kind of like took grunge and were like, how can we make this angrier?
Exactly. You know, you had this pre-grunge stuff happening, and they were just like, fuck you, I won't do what they tell me. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. And like that, just like that repeating, and you can't not listen to that song and get shivers up your spine while you're shaking. Sure. Well, you know, I listened to that, and I was walking back from Quebec the other night and listening to that, and it made me walk like faster.
Way faster.
Like, and I fucking wanted to just start smashing shit.
Yeah. Well,
like,
I think the craziest thing about them is that album came up in like 92, like coming up on 30 years ago, something like that.
Oh my, it feels so weird that something released in 1992, or let me just double check. Yeah, 1992.
92. Oh yeah, I'm good. But yeah, it's like 28 years ago and it still is relevant today. Like,
so, could you imagine writing that song today with everything going on? Killing in the Name specifically. Yeah. You know, or that whole album, really. Yeah. You listen to it, it's like, this has never, ever lost relevance.
Oh, yeah.
You know, through the Bush administration, through the drone attacks, through everything that's happened with the black culture in the past ever, I guess. But like that song holds so much relevance and so much power, and is an anthem for the people with no voice. And I love that album because it all just holds true to that.
Oh, yeah. It's definitely, you know, one of the all-time greats for sure.
Yeah, but I need to get out of my rut a bit. I need to return to things that aren't just the thing that I'm familiar with. Yeah.
Women and children first, my man.
I was talking with you about this earlier. I love Van Halen, but I've never deep dived on them. I've never went and like, okay, let's listen to some albums. Yeah. I know the stuff you've shown me, or played, you know, and other than that, like it's one of those bands that are on my list of I really need to take this deep dive. But I'm sure people can attest to. Sometimes you just feel like you want to listen to stuff, you know,
just the old hits, you know.
Exactly. Toss on Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars for the 8,000th time, or you know, A Night at the Opera for X amount of times, kind of thing.
I have an important question for you.
Okay.
How much of the energy you've gotten from Rage Against the Machine in the past week was fueled by the noise complaint?
So much. So much. Yeah. And you know, and when someone does this, we don't do this. We don't actually get vengeful or anything like this. But me and Justin have joked around about revenge stories and stuff. And putting a speaker up to our roof, playing
at
the
49
bridge,
decibels,
at 49 decibels, playing the bridge of Killing in the Name.
Fuck you, I won't do what you
just
tell me.
On repeat constantly. Like, you know, it definitely was fueled, and that's the beauty of that album is no matter how hard you try, but like no matter what you're going through, the album just feels like it's relevant.
Yeah, I mean, like, anger is such a massive part of human life. Doesn't matter who you are, what, you know, where you live, what you've been through, you've been pissed off at some point. And that kind of music, and you know, very few people do it better than Rage Against the Machine, but tap into that anger, that energy, that rage against the machine.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, for lack of better words, you know.
And like, you think about rock and roll, what's that fueled by? Anger, love, betrayal, sex and drugs. Like,
disregard for your neighbors.
We are considerate. We try our best.
Yeah.
But like that's what rock and roll is fueled by.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And like anger's kind of in all those other categories as well.
Yeah.
You know, you have that passion, you have that drive of like just I don't know what the fuck to do with this energy kind of thing. And you know, when I was talking about the concert with Greta Van Fleet and Foo Fighters where I was going a little nutty kind of thing, that's kind of that like raw energy, misplaced energy kind of thing. For sure, yeah. That's anger. That's just anger trying to come out. Like that's what that is. And that's what Wild Honey is fueled by anger.
Oh yeah? What were you pissed off about?
No, not like I'm angry. Let's sing about it.
These fucking dicks made me go in the studio after 2 weeks, man.
No, but you think about the energy of that song. It feels, you know, it feels angry. It feels like there's something that we're trying to do that we're trying to get back at, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
There's something happened that we're trying to get back at. Yeah.
But yeah, no. So if I was to listen to anything from what you've spoken about, probably Stadium Arcadium, I think, would be the album I've listened to the least. Like, I've listened to the Rage Against the Machine debut a decent amount.
Yeah, and like Stadium Arcadium, you know, you have to kind of realize also what was happening in the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Like, Frusciante wasn't there, that kind of stuff.
Did he play on that record?
I don't think so. I could be wrong.
I think he did.
Did he? I thought he was on Blood Sugar Sex Magic and then left for Stadium Arcadium. Let's quickly Google that so I don't sound like
young Jamie.
Yeah, young Jamie, Google it.
Yeah.
So I don't sound like an absolute idiot. You Google that. I'm gonna grab a beer.
I'm on it. Do you want to grab me one too? Mm-hmm. Stadium Arcadium.
I thought he wasn't.
I'm pretty sure he was.
So I'm just gonna cut out the part where I look like an idiot.
Listen, you can't cut this out, man. Yeah, he was definitely on this. Personnel, yeah. Anthony Kiedis, lead vocals. John Frusciante, guitars, back and vocals, keyboard, synthesizers, Mellotron.
This is where it's nice that I'm in control of the edit.
Yeah.
Okay, anyways, Stadium Arcadium, it does tell a story. And, you know, Kiedis has talked about him not even realizing that he was writing the story until it was half done.
Yeah.
I talk about that on the commentary of the album, which if you listen on Spotify or Apple Music, they have the commentary on there. That he didn't know what he was writing about. But after writing a couple songs, he's just like, I'm writing about Danny California. I'm writing about this girl who lusts after fame and tries so hard to get there, and when she gets there she looks back on all the things she did that she had to get there and realizes that it wasn't worth it. You know, it's kind of the American dream put into perspective, and it's a story of success, yes, but it's also a story of great failure. And you know, some songs don't play to that story and stuff. You know, you have Death of a Martian, which is about Flea's dog that died, that meant a lot to the band. There's a lot of passion that went into that album, and you can feel it when you listen to it, in my opinion.
Oh, for sure. Like, we've listened to it one time, I think, at your old apartment. And I had never listened to the full album. I obviously heard some of the songs off of it. I guess Danny California's
Snow,
yeah. Stuff like that. But no, it was really cool. Like, as a guitar player, naturally, my attention snaps onto what John Frusciante was doing, and fucking awesome guitar playing on that, for sure. Like,
and I think he kind of falls into the progression of the camp of Gilmour, you know, where not in sound, but where he doesn't overplay.
Yeah, really, what's kind of funny is I think more of Jimi Hendrix when I hear John Frusciante than David Gilmour.
Chord-wise, or
just sound-wise, like John Frusciante.
Kind of that wet sound.
That's a funny way.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you know, he played a Strat. He had a fuzz. You know, he doesn't sound exactly like Hendrix by any means, but you know, he kind of had that element of surprise to it. Like, if you try to listen to Hendrix and predict what he's going to play next without knowing the songs, extremely difficult.
Oh, like, 100%.
You know, he was a madman in a way, because whatever he played just came out of nowhere. And I think Frusciante kind of has that. Like, one instant he'll be playing, you know, this kind of clean funk riff on his Strat, and the other minute he's kicking on his fuzz face, and it's this massive wall of sound hitting you.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, it's the thing that's really hard to achieve with that is it's never not tasteful.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Oh, yeah. He great at playing to the song, which is massively important.
And, you know, they end a couple songs in what I would call chaos, with like everyone kind of going a little nuts and stuff. But I don't think it ever pulls away from the song. I think it always adds to the emotion of the song, rather than just, you know, hey, Justin, we have this song here. Do you want to do a guitar solo there? And you do a shredding guitar solo. Yeah, sometimes you nail it, and it adds to the emotion of the song. Sometimes we're just like,
I'm almost there.
Sometimes we're just like, okay, we just want to throw some kick-ass shit in here. And it always feels well placed. And, you know. Anyways, I'm done talking about the Red Hot Chili Peppers and my absolute obsession with the band.
Do you know they're from California?
California!
California! But yeah, so, okay, over the, I guess, next week or so, I'll listen to Stadium Arcadium. You hit up some Van Halen, my man.
100%. We'll report back. Do you have any, like, suggestions for bands that you've, like, stumbled upon recently, or?
I've shown you some, like, Tyler Childers,
yeah. I think. I don't know which way it's pronounced. We watched the Tiny Desk of him yesterday.
Yeah. Oh, that was really cool.
Dude kills it. And like he really does have this folk country kind of feel to him.
Yeah.
With a modern style. He kind of sings in the indie way, but telling country stories.
Yeah. Like, absolutely great voice. He's a really great guitar player for his style. Like, he's not the flashiest, but, you know, the little accents he's doing in between chords is really
singing.
Cool.
Like, you look at that Tiny Desk, he's very, like, well supporting himself.
Yeah.
On guitar. Well, it's just him and a guitar. Like, he does a great job filling that space while singing.
Yeah.
He really does.
And that's it's very difficult to do. You know, it's a massive challenge.
And, like, I did mention yesterday, too, while we were listening to him, like, it felt a lot like Manchester Orchestra to me.
Yeah.
Because he just has this kind of, like, cracky country true voice over this large production, but it's not a large production. It sounds like a large production. All the things he's doing with his guitar sound large and sound like this big sound stage that he's just kind of laying this story over.
Yeah.
But he does it with one acoustic guitar. Yeah. Like, it was a really cool thing to listen to, and a great show of guitarmanship and just a great player.
Well, I think one of the toughest things to do as a songwriter is to say things that everyone is too afraid to say. And I think saying stuff like, Papa told me, keep your nose on the grindstone and out of these pills, it is great. And it, you know, kind of speaks to it's got the Bob Dylan effect. It's got the car seat headrest effect and all this stuff, you know. You want to make the people listening to it feel something. And he does a really great job of that.
Exactly. And, like, you know, you mentioned car seat headrest, which obviously, like, to you it's obvious. I love car seat headrest. I think as a writer, he's really good.
Oh, absolutely.
He's not an amazing vocalist, but he does put a ton of emotion in his vocals. Well, I would compare him to, like, a David Byrne or Roger Waters.
Yeah. There was a long history in music of musicians who didn't really have great voices, but the songs carried it. I mean,
Hendrix, Dylan.
Bob Dylan is the archetype for that. I mean,
Bob Dylan is A1.
For sure. And a really cool thing is I read a book a few years ago that's it's Jimi Hendrix in his own words. And he talks about that. He says, like, oh, there's this cool cat in New York named Bob Dylan, and his voice is not so good, but he just really speaks his truth.
Speaks to the people.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, it's so important to have great songs. I mean, I'm sure everyone out there has heard a fantastic singer, whether it's at a bar, at a talent show, on social media or whatever, and you listen to that and you're like, okay, this is really cool, but it doesn't really mean anything. Like, it doesn't speak to you as much as, you know, Bob Dylan saying, the sun isn't yellow, it's chicken.
Yeah. Right? He did have some weird lyrics in there. That's for sure.
But it, you know, it meant something.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And on that strain, I'm going to say, if anyone listening has not listened to Teens of Denial by Car Seat Headrest, that is going to be my recommendation for... It's not new to me.
The viewer recommendation.
It's going to be my... If you haven't listened to it, following the strain of, like, kind of folky writing.
Yeah.
You know, both Tom Childers? Tyler Childers. Yes, it's a weird name. If you spell it Childers, you'll get there.
Yeah.
And you know, Car Seat Headrest, they kind of followed the same approach, different ways.
Oh, for
you know?
sure, yeah.
Like, they kind of both tell this great story, or things that people are too afraid to say out loud.
Yeah.
Afraid of my friends when I'm inside, afraid of the cops when I'm outside. Great line.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Like, so Teens of Denial, Car Seat Headrest would be mine. Justin has heard that album 1,000 times because I made him listen to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that...
Yeah, well, I think it's time to wrap it up. So we've been Justin and Taylor with Louder Than the Fridge. Take care, and thank you for sitting through the worst podcast of all time.
Hope you guys enjoyed. Have a good one.
Take care.